Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yes, good to have you with us. It's a Saturday morning. You know what that means. Time for Florida Talk Real Estate. That's 2 hours of infotainment every Saturday, and it's great to have you with us. Whether you're on the old terrestrial radio, 92.1 or 101.7, thank you for tuning in. Maybe you are on your free download, your iHeartRadio app, listening on Real Radio 921. That makes us worldwide. And we also go live streaming, y'all, on a Saturday. Two sources for that. Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook will go live stream. And, of course, on YouTube as well. That's Florida Talk Real Estate, LLC. Home of our live stream on a Saturday, and a ton of informational chunk videos you can find on our YouTube page, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC. You can join the program toll free at 877-927-6969. If you have questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, you want to jump into the conversation at hand, don't be shy. Jimothy will line you up. That you make that call, we'll take that call. We is me, Johnny C., your air traffic control. Let's say good morning. Get your starting lineup on a Saturday. We'll say good morning to Jerret Perry, y'all. It's been a minute since he's been on the show, but you've heard his name tied in with PPF, Player Performance First, and, of course, the CPA that he is. He's been called the CPA to the stars from our friends in Sports Illustrated, not once, twice, maybe 3 or 4 times at this point. I might be cutting it short. He is the CPA to the stars. It's Perry and Group CPA. There's Jerret Perry with us on a Saturday. How are you, my friend?
My buddy, what's going on, man? What an intro. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Always good to have you with us. And if you are streaming with us right now, you're like, ooh, who's the one in the mask? Well, it's kind of like the Masked Singer in a way, if you ever seen that. Let's do the big reveal, y'all. I know you have your guesses. That is Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach.
Boom! Boom!
Oh my God.
Supposed to do the other way, Ross.
It's spooky Saturday.
Supposed to do the boo with the mask on.
Well, I'm doing the reveal.
This is the big reveal. This is the big reveal. A lot of people thought it was Ross.
This looks better. I mean, this is what everybody wants to say.
A lot of people thought it was Ross, but then they started talking themselves out of it. They're like, maybe it's not Ross. No, it is. Right there in Juno Beach.
It was very Scooby-Doo-ish.
What?
Yeah.
Going to take the mask off of the Scooby-Doo character. Oh, it's him. Those darn kids.
If it wasn't for those dastardly kids.
Meddling kids. Yep. And you hear those melodious tones. Those sweet melodious tones are coming from my guy, Jimmy D. That's Jim DePola. I have told you for over a decade that he runs the top producing Keller Williams team. That's Keller Williams Innovations, where you find the Florida Home Pros team. Jimmy D, how you be?
Happy Halloween and happy South Florida, everybody. You know, as I was a little late today, so I'm not even finished with all the show prep on my screen yet. So I'll be doing that during the break. So we're definitely taking a break at 9:30. Okay, Johnny, keep me on that. So I was like, oh my gosh, it's Halloween this weekend. Ross is gonna have something going on, and I have nothing. And I was right. You didn't let me down, Ross. That's pretty cool.
Right. Halloween show. You got to dress up for it.
Yeah, I know. And anyway, we have a pretty good show today. We have I'm sorry. We're going to be talking a little bit about interest rates. We finally hit the dreaded 7 number in the Freddie Mac report. We're going to talk about a little bit about that. I think that's why Mike Rao isn't here today. I think he skipped out because he didn't want to be on the week where we hit the 7, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
We're going to talk to Ross about, the future of homeowners insurance a little bit. I mean, Ross is only a component of this big insurance problem. And really, he's just the front end. So he isn't really the problem part. The problem part is when claims start to happen and he doesn't get involved in that. But
I've got a question for you, Ross, when we get into it about.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about homeowners insurance stuff. And then, and actually, Jarrett has excellent questions about age of roof and buying a roof, different types of roof, and does it make a difference? So that'll be great to talk about. And And we're also going to be talking about, we have to have at least one spooky real estate story, right? I mean, it is Halloween, so we're going to do one spooky real estate story. We'll do that later at the 10 o'clock hour. But I also wanted to start out with a little shout out to Tom. Tom, we've been putting his house. In fact, Tom was the first person that we put photos of an open house on the live stream for YouTube and Facebook, as we've been doing open houses. And Tom went under contract this week, which I'm really happy for him. It's kind of a very interesting outlook on the market today, right? So, we're always very transparent on this show, right? So we put, it's a Palm City house. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath home in Palm City. And it was Solitaire. I don't know if people remember, on Southwest Solitaire. And it's in a gated community. It's very close to 95 in the Turnpike. But we put the house on the market, and it was the 5th least expensive pool home in Martin County. If you just were looking for a pool home, we were the 5th least expensive, and we were the 12th least expensive 3-bedroom home, right? And it took us 42 days to sell it, right? Now that house normally, if we were in 6 months ago or 8 months ago, that would be one of our stories on the show. Hey, we had a gazillion showings this weekend, and we have a gazillion and a half offers because some people didn't even come look at it, and it turned into an offer, right? This house took 42 days. So I'm going to do a quiz here. Okay. I'm making up numbers because we haven't closed yet or anything. I'm making up numbers here. Let's say that we put Tom's house on the market for $600,000, and it was on the market for 42 days. We did not do a price drop, I can tell you that. What do you think we went under contract for?
Say it again. How much?
So let's just say it's 600 flat.
What do you think you went under contract for?
Yeah. Now we were on the market 42 days.
585.
Okay.
605.
605. What do you think, Ross?
Well, 605 was going to be my number, so I'm going to say 604.
604. Okay. So this what they didn't get above. Okay, they didn't get above asking price, but they also did not get as low as Jerret said, because at 600, 585 is what, Jerret? That's that's only about 2.5%, right?
I was thinking,
like 2.5.
That long, it must be overpriced. I didn't know, so I just
So it was. See, and there you go. That's the point I'm trying to make. Did you hear it? I don't know if everybody heard Jerret, but he said, well, because it was on so long, I felt like maybe it might be overpriced at 42 days. 42 days for
you.
Oh, yeah, that's true. For a huge part of the market, 42 days being on the market, 42 days would be pretty average. It'd be pretty average on the market. So what we ended up getting on this $600,000 house is about exactly what Jerret said, about 585, right? The percentage wise is right with the same type of house. So what lessons can we take away from that? When you're reading in the papers and you're reading in the stats, I think Jerret's so happy he got the right answer. When you're reading about this stuff, what you're hearing is, hey, we're seeing a lot of price reductions. We're also seeing people cancel and expire, have cancel expired listings, longer days on market. Inventory's growing, but not that much. The way the newspapers put out the report that the inventory's grown so much, it has grown, but it's been over a period of couple of months. And actually the growth in inventory has been stagnant for almost like 2 months in a row. There was a big bump in 1 month, and then we haven't seen the inventory grow that much.
How
But
does the storm affect that?
I don't know yet. It's too early. It's kind of too early to really know how it's really. There's a lot of conjecture. So so we have all these factors, but we have super low inventory. So all the national people are saying we're not going to see price reductions or price drops because of the low inventory and the huge demand to move to Florida. That's their theory. Well, it took us a little longer, but we didn't have to do a price reduction, and we got very we got a very good price for this house, especially in this neighborhood. In this neighborhood, it's one of the top sales in the neighborhood, even though it was one of the lowest sales for this type of house in the county. Okay. So the seller's very happy with what they got on this, and we're going into inspection early next week, and we'll be going on it. But just kind of showing how the market is. It takes a little longer to sell. If you don't panic and it's priced right, you're going to get a fair offer that you could work with. My seller, because we're on the market for quote so long, was worried that maybe he was going to have to drop his price significantly or something. But it really wasn't that, because there weren't many sales. There weren't a lot of sales. It wasn't like all these houses were selling around him. It was just finding the right buyer for the right house. It had to match right. And there, so it was a really good story. And congratulations to Tom to this first step. We still got to get through inspection, appraisal, and close. But there we go on that.
Nice.
So
we get to the point where 3% interest rates completely ruin people, because like a 7% interest rate is a great interest rate for a home, and it's the perception is completely shot now. That people think that's just beyond what they'd even consider. And 40 days on market now almost feels like people are like, wow, that house must have been a POS. Is on the market for 40 days. That's so weird to see how mindsets can be affected so like almost overnight.
It's really amazing. It's not unusual when I put houses on the market right now where people start complaining after the first week or 2 weeks on the market. And a lot of them have the mindset that they still want the upper price of the market, regardless that the market's changing and maybe their house isn't upper end condition, right? So they're expecting people to go ahead and bend. And people did bend, but we're shifting from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And I would even make the argument that even though that inventory is way low, even market 6 months of inventory, we have about 3 months right now, right? Only 3 months of inventory. But even though that we only have 3 months of inventory, I would say it's almost a slight buyer's market right now, with rare exceptions. So I put 2 buyers under contract last week, right? One of them was at upper end price, right? And another one was like a first time home buyer, affordable home. And they were looking, but they were very picky, and they looked at several houses before they decided they were going to pick one they wanted. And the ones they wanted had extra value adds, like a brand new roof or a newer roof with air conditioning upgrades, or the house has been upgraded in some way. And that's the ones they're looking for. They're not looking for trying to buy it and then have to do a lot of work at the price and the interest rates they are now. They have to see some kind of value to the home, not just that I'm buying a home and I like part of it. They have to like it all right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting. 7.02 is where we are. We started the year at 3.11. So now we're at 7.02. It is pretty amazing. I didn't even think we would get into the sevens. I thought we would be in the sixes, but I didn't know that we would be 7 in October. The Fed, it might not get better for a while. The Fed is coming out this week, and he's supposed to do, Jerome Powell's supposed to do another 0.75 increase. That I think will be, holy moly, I can't even count how many, Johnny. Is that the 4th or the 5th?
Yeah, I've lost track as well.
Yeah, I'm having a bad week on member stuff. I'm pretty sure it's the 4th.
0.75%.
Mm-hmm. They've been doing 0.75%, Jarrett, now every single time they've met since like June. So, yeah, they're trying to tamp down inflation, and it's not working. It looks like it's not working very well.
This is Florida. We're talking Florida. Talk real estate. Because I've been seeing like on social media things, all these realtors talking about how we're in a recession. So like, I was just wondering if Florida was like a different than the rest of the market, or if
Florida's been holding on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like usual, Florida's holding on better than other pockets like Iowa or like the Midwest, that kind of stuff. However, we have our own problems here that are going to be I think become problematic over time, like homeowners insurance. We're going to talk about it today, but Ross, that story I sent you, some of the people are predicting a 40% increase in homeowners insurance policies next year. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, Ross. If something like that happens, we're already, I think it's 1.5 times more than other area, the national average. If we go up another 40%, it's going to be crazy town. So I really think those will be factors, that the tax benefits to some people are going to be outweighed by the homeowners insurance issues. So we're going to see a little bit of problems, but Florida is going to remain stronger than other parts of the country for sure. It's a safer bet. There's other areas like that, areas of Texas, Arizona, even though they're going to go through slumps too, right? Those areas are still going to be also desirable. North Carolina, yep. So we'll see as it goes on. What else was I wanted to mention?
Most of those are tax
yeah. Now the interest rates. I want to go to the interest rates and put this in perspective. The interest rates. I did a little research yesterday, and the last time we were at a 7 was looking at the chart right now. The Freddie Mac chart was in 2002, right? Which is what we said last week, because the interest rates only went up 0.14 over last week. So we were at in July 2002 is the last time we were in the 7s, right? And think about that though, right? Even though that 7 to 9 is the average, Johnny, when we talk about that and talking about people being spoiled with interest rates, if you really look at it, it's been 2002, right, since we even had a 7. So, so I can it almost makes sense for people to to be shocked that we're at 7%. Some of these, some of these people were like 4 years old, 5 years old when interest rates were last 7%. Right?
True. Like, we also are really, really good as a whole at having really short-term memory. Like, we don't remember even 10 months ago or a year ago. So, like, you got to remember everything that we've gone through. Like, we busted out a couple of times in that 20 years financially, like as a whole and as a country, specifically the housing market. So we've seen a lot of trauma in the 20 years. So, yeah, I mean, if you can remember all that, you can go, oh, okay, well, I guess, through the quantitative easing of trying to actually save our economy, save our country, we've positioned ourselves. We just never ramped it back up. We're now in this like hasty environment of ramping it up, where probably over the course of the last 6 years we should have been ramping it up slower, and we might have maybe avoided having to be where we're at right now had we altered the plan. But I mean, that's hindsight always has the ability to making things pretty gin clear, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. It's hard to argue with that.
I know there was a lot of people saying, hey, if the economy's so good as it was being touted for years, like, oh, look, the problem was it was like stock market. It's like, okay, well, that's not the economy, that's the stock market. But it was really touted if the economy's well. And it's like, if it's economy's so good, let's get these rates rising, like, because we can sustain it. The economy is really good right now. That's why we're raising it to sustain it. And I don't know, when you hear recession being talked about, it's fascinating, because like I went to Stevie Nicks last night. Just FYI, like lawn tickets were like $100 and something bucks. Mm-hmm. It's packed. I mean, it's just in this country, we're inherently really good. Not everybody, but for the most part, people are awesome at just being like, I spend a bunch of money I don't have on things I don't need, because
100%. Yeah. I agree with that.
Just go out and see some of these events. Look at like what World Series tickets are going for in a recession. Evidently, it's amazing.
Yeah, you can't forget that the government just handed out billions of dollars to people.
That's a big key of the problem, right? Printing and spending.
What I'm surprised though is that money hasn't been spent yet. I'm not saying that as a fact. I'm kind of like, hasn't that money been spent yet? Like, is it still filtering through the economy?
I think a lot of people got in the habit when they had that money of spending money they didn't have, and they've continued to.
Oh, like they kept
money
that.
they don't have. Yeah.
So they kept that lifestyle, if you will, of the inflated income.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like people are just credit card
building up debt. Yeah. Well, that's how they're maintaining it. They're building debt. They're not working like harder to maintain it. They're just building debt.
It's not necessarily a new phenomenon, though. I mean, that's kind of the American way, right?
Taking equity out, so they can go to buy lawn seats,
I know. Right. Or new rims for their truck. I'm joking. So it's going to be very interesting to see this economy, because one thing I don't understand is, even though the economy's been very strong for a long time, inflation proves it in a way, because it's overinflated now. People have been down on surveys about how the economy's doing. Everybody's complaining about the economy sucks, but when it's polled, but at the same time, people are spending like crazy. Right. And so there's a real dichotomy here of trying to, where the reality is. And I don't know which way it's going to go. It's very interesting. I was talking to one of my customers yesterday, and I really don't know how this market's going to go. I don't know if we're going to go through a major correction. It looks like right now we're in a regular correction, a needed correction is what I'm seeing. But the numbers aren't really reflecting it yet. I don't understand why we have so many price reductions, but we're not seeing a price point overall go down yet. And that, they're saying, is a function of the inventory. But I'm being honest. I've been doing this since 2003, and I haven't seen it like this before. I've seen other topsy-turvy markets, but not like that.
So I was reading a comparison to like in the 80s. All right. So we had a similar situation in the 80s where, interest rates really started going up. And it was all about to fight recession. Right. And normally, like, we knew with the plan, we're like, okay, so they're trying to cool off the housing market, and that's going to be the domino to work through inflation. It didn't feel like it was going to be anything that was going to work fast, but I think we all had the understanding that it was going to be a slow play. It's a painful slow play as it's working. But in the 80s, they did this, a more almost as aggressive, but we're talking about higher interest rates, right? Way higher maybe comparatively. You know what didn't happen though, Jim? So the housing market slowed way down. People stopped buying houses, but the values didn't go anywhere. When I was reading about that the other day, I was like, that's interesting. Because we're in an almost mirrored situation where it slowed the market way down, but the values kind of hung. So if that can be our outcome for homeowners, that's a best case scenario, right?
Yeah, that would be, in my opinion, this is my definition, that would be a definition of a real estate soft landing, right? To me, that would be a best case scenario. Maybe that's the way it is. I'm going to go and read up on that. That's very interesting to me. I never really checked. I've always knew that we were at an 18 to 21% interest rate during that time because what the Fed did. But I didn't know that. I didn't really ever look at the price values at that point. So that's very interesting.
That the values kind of hung. Obviously, the amount of sales, it got to a snail's pace, almost just stopped. But the values hung in, and I don't know how you can. I mean, you almost can't artificially build that. That was an interesting aspect to what I was reading.
Mm-hmm. One of our Facebook listeners, thank you for coming on in, or viewers, was saying, I remember when I bought my first house at 13%, so 7%, we're not in like crazy world land, right? Even though some people really think it is.
Can it be segmented? Like it's different. Like if you're intercoastal properties or maybe they're not in a recession, while houses in certain neighborhoods or whatever are. I feel like it's very, house in Palm Beach right now, I don't think is in a recession. Maybe they are. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a difference between.
Yes, it is definitely, as we always say, every situation is like a snowflake, as Johnny has mentioned many times. And that's so true in every market. So we're talking about overall overarching big macro themes, but the ultra luxury market for sure, that doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. Did you see in the newspaper? I've been so busy this week, I didn't get to pull it, but I saw in the paper that there was a guy who bought a property for, I think he tore down $110 million property he just bought on the island, and he just tore it down. And I think that there's a lot next door that he controls also. So that tells me he's going to probably, the way it was kind of written in the newspaper, probably collate the land and build mega mansion or something out there, right? So that market's still like totally crazy on fire. Did I tell you guys about the story I heard last week? Lady bought, oh yeah, we mentioned it. The lady bought the $28 million mansion for her dog and her boat. She didn't really care about the house. It was just a place to crash, but she needed a place for her dog and her boat. So she bought a $28 million, property. Right? Cash.
A wonderful example. So our economy has always been you used the word dichotomy earlier, Jim. It's always been a nation of have and have-nots.
Oh yeah, it's just getting wider.
Oh my gosh,
it's just getting wider by multiples.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think your opinion of what's really happening in our economy as far as recession and inflation, it's clear. Everything's more expensive. Like all you have to do is be somebody that goes and buys anything ever, and you'd be like, oh yeah, inflation's real. But as far as what you deem the economy is like right now, it's either what you're hearing on the regular, like who's filling your head, or your experience. And I think for a lot of people, they're like, I'm doing all right. Everything's more expensive, but that's inflation, right?
My thing is, all of this is linchpin to the employment. As long as we have strong employment, everything's going to be okay. Do you guys kind of agree with that? Because as long as the employment's there, people are going to pay their bills. And once the employment gets shaky, once we get if we had any reason I'm sorry, what do you think, Jarrett?
I think the employment's a disaster right now. I just don't think it's being reflected. There's no employees. Every business owner I talk to can't find qualified staff.
Well, I agree with you on that, but if it flips the other way, will we start getting high unemployment? That's where I think we're going to have a major problem with credit card payments, car payments, mortgage payments, because right now they're all pretty good, right? Foreclosure is record low. Sorry, what?
Yeah. I was just saying if they're not if the society has become lazy through this COVID and all this stuff, a lot of employers are going to downsize and get rid of they got to trim the fat. They had all these loans to be able to continue paying these people, and now they don't. And they're living on leveraged funds, and they're pushing their businesses through, a lot of them with leveraged funds still. And I think at some point they're going to have to trim the fat that's they're spending, and that's going to include these employees that aren't doing their jobs.
When do you think that cycle is going to happen? Like for
right now,
like you think it's happening right now?
I think it's. I mean, I'm just look.
Yeah, just from your perspective of seeing your people come through,
right? Like so, I have a variety of different types of clients, different types of businesses. The common theme across all of them is we can't find qualified staff, and the majority of them are starting to outsource it overseas, and I think that's going to be because the people over there want to work, and they know the stuff better than the people over here, and we're virtual now. And COVID was a big thing with that, because it made businesses go virtual. And so they had to get set up. That people that I don't like operating virtual, but I had to provide a mechanism for my employees to work from home. And so now I'm set up to where I can send business, to another country, hire people and send it over there where I wasn't before. And I never would have really made that change. So I think it forced a lot of business owners into that situation where they're already set up to go virtual, and they can now start using, hopefully they'll keep hiring people in the US and that won't happen, and everyone will be working. But that's what I'm hearing. So
not a totally brand new phenomenon, though. I mean, we've seen businesses look to save money and outsource overseas forever in the name of cost cutting. And I mean, it's not necessarily like a pandemic related phenomenon. I mean, it's kind of always been a thing, right?
But it was mostly like manufacturing jobs. Now you're seeing it was mostly manufacturing jobs that would be outsourced overseas, but now you're seeing office being outsourced. That's what I'm saying.
That's always been my favorite. You call customer service and you're like, where am I calling?
Right. I mean, and it's not even just customer service. It's general, like
professional.
We can outsource a lot of our back end insurance stuff, to somebody in the Philippines.
Yeah, like professional firms that didn't used to do it. Attorneys, CPAs, insurance, all that stuff is now outsourcing because they're set up that way from COVID, and they wouldn't have normally done it, because they were forced into it. Now they have that option. So, not saying it's going to, there's no U.S. employees. It's been difficult for us to find qualified staff.
Yeah, sure.
It is. It's going to be very interesting. We're going through a new, exciting cycle of economics, and we'll see how it all turns out. Hey, let's go ahead and take the break. On the flip side, Ross, we're going to start right off with you since you've got your spooky gear on. We're going to talk about the future of Florida homeowners insurance in Florida.
It's dead, bro.
That's the market.
Okay, so we're going to give you some scary time next, right, Johnny?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna prepare mentally because I don't know if I'm ready for how scary things are gonna get in the world of homeowners insurance. But we'll do it together. We'll go down. Jarrett brought his flashlight. If it gets dark, we'll have him lead the way. We'll be good. We'll just remember, we stay together. Everything's gonna be all right. So hold on to the shirt. What's that, Jarrett?
A little seance when we get back, and
if need be, whatever. I just want everybody mentally prepared. Like I said, we'll get through this together. And remember, you always have a team that you can lean on. You got to have people to lean on, especially when you're going through big things in life, like buying a home or selling a home. Maybe you're really stressing about a home. You don't know what to do. Maybe you are like, oh my God, my property insurance. Look, I have a team at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We call it your one-stop real estate shop for a reason, because you have pros, people that are amazing at what they do. You know, plenty of people that are good at what they do. Do you know people that are great at what they do? Because I do. And you can go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Have access to them all. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. Again, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're 4 minutes away from getting back at it on a Saturday. Great to have you with us. Thanks for joining for 2 hours of infotainment. It's Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
We'll be your friend. Follow us at Real Radio 92.1 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
From the Gordon and Partners Weather Center. Have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with CBS 12 News. Sun and clouds for today with a chance for a few passing showers as high temperatures return to the middle 80s across the area, and an east-northeast wind breezy at times between 10 and 20 miles per hour. Some clouds linger for tonight as low temperatures return to the lower and middle 70s by Sunday morning.
This report is sponsored by Walgreens.
Finding the right Medicare plan was no easy feat until I found Walgreens Find RX coverage. Compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, and find plans with low-cost copays. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
You're listening to Real Radio 92.1, and we are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
That is your toll-free number, 877-927-6969. If you call it, Jimothy's going to pick up that phone there. He'll line you up, and you make that call. We'll take that call with your questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, or if you just want to jump into the conversation at hand, don't be shy. Of course, if you are shy, you're not comfortable on the radio, I totally understand. I'm not either. That's why I want to tell you about floridatalkrealestate.com, your one-stop real estate shop, and you'll find the hotline there as well, 888-973-7828. You can call that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, answered by a live body. I don't know if I'm 100% sure they're in the great United States of America, though. I don't know. We're talking about outsourcing. I'm just not sure about that. Johnny C., that's me. Good morning, Jarrett Perry. That is CPA to the stars. That is what Sports Illustrated has dubbed him on several articles he's been featured in. Of course, you know him from PPF, Player Performance First, and all these years on the show with Perry and Group CPA. Jarrett, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's a Saturday. Gonna have a nice Saturday. Not working too hard today, so I'm on the show. Couldn't be better.
Beautiful. I love that. Things are looking up, as he's saying, on a beautiful Saturday morning. Ross Komarinetz is with us as well. You know him from Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Ross, how are you?
Juno, that's true, Johnny. Good to see everybody. Happy Halloween Saturday.
Yeah, I love it. Now, is that a real pumpkin behind you? Did you carve that, or is that a plastic pumpkin?
That's actually a plastic one, but we had, I made everybody bring in pumpkins to have a little pumpkin contest.
Nice.
And I was going to display mine today, but I don't know, it got thrown away or something. It's gone. So this one's plastic. I had a real one. Don't know what happened to it.
Well, it's big, it's magnificent, and it's like perfect, which is why I was questioning whether it was real or not. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you stream with us on a Saturday, maybe on Facebook or on YouTube there, Florida Talk Real Estate, you can see the live stream. You can see Ross is dressed up, and there's the pumpkin right there in the background as well. Get on the stream and see what I'm talking about. And Jimmy D is with us, not dressed up, does not have a pumpkin in the background, but he's on the stream. There's Jim DePola saying happy Halloween from the Keller Williams office in Boynton. That's Keller Williams Innovations, home of the Florida Home Pros team. That's a top producing Keller Williams team with Jimmy D. How you be?
Hey Johnny. I forget. Is your family kind of elaborate with the carving of the pumpkins? Like, do you have elaborate designs on the pumpkins, or you guys more general?
I go all out typically for the pumpkins. I do like really elaborate designs. This year we're doing them a Sunday night.
You're doing a Sunday night. Do you have like electronic tools involved, or is everything hand carved?
All hand carved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all hand carved.
So we're going to get into homeowners insurance, and after that, I have an insurance question to ask Ross about Aunt Sally. If somebody buys a property and Aunt Sally's buried in the backyard, what happens to Aunt Sally and who owns it? And can you get insurance for that? But anyway, we're going to get into that.
Who just buried their aunt in the backyard?
Yeah, it reminds me of another story from earlier this year, so it's kind of a cool Halloween story. But before we get into that, Ross, the last time we had left off on homeowners insurance, it was right after Ian. You were saying at the time that it was all it's still preliminary, but that the figures look like that Citizens was going to be able to sustain. They weren't going to have to start asking for additional premiums from the homeowners to pay for any losses. And do you still feel that way? Because I really don't know. I'm just asking. I'm not trying to set you up for anything. Do you still feel that way?
Yes.
You do? Okay, cool. So the article that we read about, the article I sent you, it was on one of the local TV stations on the West Coast. They were talking to some insurance prognosticators, if you will. And they were saying, here's the stats as they exist. The average homeowner's insurance policy across the nation is $1,500. Ours is $4,200. Okay, on the average. So they're expecting that it could go up as high as 40% next year. So 4,200, add 40%, that's roughly $1,600. You're at almost $6,000 a year. You're in the high fives. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think that's realistic, or do you just think that some homes are going to get to 40, that it isn't going to be like a blanket thing where it'll average out to 40, and some are going to be worse and some are going to be way less?
I mean, that's what we've been seeing the last 2 years anyway. 40%.
Has it really been 40% year over year?
Yeah. Yeah.
For the older homes.
It wouldn't surprise me, but like we've always said, the hurricanes aren't really what that's not why companies are going out of business. So
it's the litigation.
Yeah.
It's this is our litigation thing.
They're starting to talk about the same stuff that we've been talking about for the last 2.5 years.
You're right.
They're starting to talk about it on like CNBC.
Yes. This is national news now.
Yeah. All the same stuff that we've been bringing up and talking about, Florida's 8% of claims, but 80% of lawsuits. Now they're starting to talk about it on, the national financial market TV station. So,
which, by the way, a lot of those guys own places like in Palm Beach and stuff.
Yeah. So that's probably why they're, more aware of it now.
And
maybe they're listening to us.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
They're listening to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're listening to us too. Yeah.
Well,
So
can I ask him, Jim, my question?
Ask away.
Okay.
Of course. Oh,
Ross,
no. Let me just finish on the statistics about this, Ross. I really want you have a really good thing, Jarrett, to ask, but it's different than this. So the other thing I just wanted to bring up that I read in this article was that they started mentioning all the firms, all the insurance companies that like kind of pulled out of Florida for bankruptcy or lack of cash problems. but they said that there was a list, and I think we had talked about this before, that there were 27 properties that they felt were, quote, at risk at the time. This is pre-Ian. And that they're not 27 properties, 27 companies that were at risk pre-Ian financially, like if a big one hit. And I was like, whoa. Do you think that that's going to have major effects? Do you think are we going to go from like 6 failed companies to like 20 failed companies?
Excuse me. I don't know. I don't know. The only, I'm not in any of those companies, CFO meetings, any of their C-suites have access to really, what their true data is and all that. The only thing that I can do on my end is really deal with the tools that I have in front of me right now. Are tools going to start, being taken away? I don't know. And it's not anything that I can control or, call an insurance company and give them a piece of my mind and say, hey, you guys need to do this. And, so I can only kind of deal with what I can work with.
Yeah. With what you got. That's what we do, is like, that's what this whole show's been about. We work with the market that we have at the time. Sometimes we're trying to get you to use discounts. Like later, we're going to go through another cycle. We know it's going to happen because it's happened before, hopefully, right? That we'll see the market slow down again. And a lot of people won't realize that the insurance rates are going down. And how many people, Johnny, do you think we help just from telling people, hey, the insurance rates are going really low now? It's a great way to get a discount on your mortgage payment.
Oh, yeah.
Right now. Yeah, so we did that a lot, but now we're looking at it the other way. So that's the market win. So right now you're just trying to figure out the best deal you could get, with these super high prices. And that's why Ross is awesome. Is an awesome asset to have in your Rolodex or your Rolodex. That's also ancient in your phone. Rolodex. Yeah. I have one of those cashiers in our office where it's not electric, and you have to hit the thing and it goes ching. So, but anyway, it's so important. But I would like to. Oh, I'm sorry, Jarrett.
I was just, it was an extension of what you were talking about earlier. Like, you're saying how many are going to drop out, or is there going to be, how many are going to fail? Like, I feel like there's not really many options right now to Floridians, or especially people, living by the water.
So talk about your situation with your roof, Jarrett, because you have interesting questions to ask Ross. That a lot of people.
Is there multiple? How many carriers are realistic options for Florida residents right now? Is there? I don't know.
How old your roof?
Well, I'm just saying in general.
How old your
a
roof
lot of insurance companies won't insure in Florida, right?
He's saying that's what his answer is, though, Jarrett, is how old is your roof? That will tell you how many carriers you have.
I didn't mean for me. I just meant.
No, he's saying in general.
In general. So, right now, if your roof is over 14, if your regular shingle roof or tile roof is over 15 years old, 3 in South Florida.
Yeah.
That includes Citizens, and most of the time Citizens is going to be $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So
even tile roof, oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Those things are built 30 to 40 years.
Well,
and you get 15 years.
Metal roof, and it's supposed to be, lifetime. Mine's over. It's right around 20 years old. There's nothing
too old. Gone.
I know, and that's my question. We've had a roof inspector. They wanted a letter saying there's no leaks, and there's nothing wrong with the roof. It's got, there's a little places where we can paint it to get the rust. There's a little rust that's bothering them. So I'm at the point where I either have to replace the roof, I guess, which is a pretty penny, or I do what?
I would.
It literally will drop me, right? Like I won't have an option if I don't get a new roof.
It depends on the carrier. Right now, as long as your roof has at least 5 years of useful life left, I believe your carrier is going to renew you. You just have to provide them that document.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But if you wanted to switch carriers, your only option would be Citizens.
Yeah. And the problem I realized about those, proving that 5-year useful life thing is that, you call up a roofing company and you're like, hey, I need a letter saying.
That's why you don't call a roofing company.
Yeah. You don't call a roofing company.
That's what they wanted, was a letter from a roofing company.
No, they want a roof certification, which is just a form that you can call whoever, does wind mitigation reports, who does 4-point inspections, home inspections. You call one of them and they'll come out and they'll do a roof certification.
A roof certification. That'll tell them how long it's worth.
Yeah, it'll put on there the year that it was installed, how old it is, and how many years of useful life left, and then if there's any deficiencies.
And you need 5 now, Ross? You would say 5?
So for the renewals, in order for them to keep you, yes.
But Citizens is 3.
Citizens is 3. That's their guidelines.
So let me ask you this. So let's say that you had to put a $50,000 roof on a house, right? And now let's say that the only game in town, if you don't do that, would be Citizens. Let's say you have enough useful life and you decided, you know what, I don't want to spend $50,000 now. I'm just going to ride it until the useful life is gone. Then I'm going to pay for the roof, right? And then you put the new roof on. How much savings do you get with the new roof versus the old roof that still has useful life?
If you're with Citizens at that time,
yeah, let's say you're at Citizens,
you're not going to save any money.
Oh, really?
Because, pardon?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Yeah, that's important to know. I just wanted to make sure I understood. So if I put a new roof on,
because if your roof was installed in 2002, you're already getting what's called the FBC credit. That's the Florida Building Code credit for having a roof that was installed after March of 2002. So with Citizens is already giving you that 2002 credit. They don't care whether it was put on in 2002 or 2022. It's the same discount. They don't have like an age of roof discount.
Unless it was, so if mine was done in like 99.
Yes, then you would save some money. But it's going to be like $500. It's not going to be, $2,000.
Yeah, so sometimes, Jarrett, what the point I was trying to make and help homeowners here, sometimes replacing the roof right away might not be, you might not want to do that. You might want to just write out your useful life, but be prepared to put the roof on when it needs to be put on. That would be another way of handling it. Yeah. For people in this situation, the Skeletor is shaking his head right now.
I mean, it's scary getting this insurance information right now from him. I'm spooked.
No, but this actually, this kind of puts the homeowner a little more control instead of panicking. It's like, oh my God, they're asking me to replace my roof. Well, the first thing you do is find out useful life, right? And then you decide based on the useful life. If your useful life is under 3 years, you're putting on the new roof.
Yeah.
But if it isn't, you can still make decisions because you're not going to get that much savings by putting on the new roof on anyway.
So if I get a letter, it's just a general question, and it may be different with every carrier, but like if I go do that little the inspection and they say, hey, it's over 5 years, do I have to do that every year to show it's over 5 years, or does that 5-year thing last me 5 years? And
it has to be at least 5 years. So if they said, hey, Jarrett, your roof has exactly 5 years left, the insurance company is going to contact you next year and say, hey, we need to know if your roof has 5 years. And then you go out and get another one. The other side is if they say you have 7, 2 years from now, they're going to say, hey, we need to know.
Got it.
Yeah. This is good information.
They won't ever just like if they wanted this study and they said, hey, you got to go get it. Like what type of, all the insurance carriers are different. Are they, when you're covered under that policy, you're covered. They can't, or they wouldn't just drop you for not getting the study done within a certain amount of time or something. Is there any?
So right now, if your roof has at least 5 years of useful life left, they can't. So right now they can't say cancel you or non-renew you just because your roof is over X amount, over 15 years. We'll just say 15 years.
Yeah.
As long as it has 5 years of useful life left. Now, could they say, you know what, we're trying to reduce our exposure in your zip code and just and non-renew you for some reason? Then yes, that is, but they can't specifically say, as long as you can provide proof that your roof has 5 years of life left. That was part of that special session stuff.
Got it. I got to get them some type of the study as soon as possible. So
yeah, just call an inspection company, home inspector, wind mitigation company.
I just know a lot of other people I've talked to been getting hit on the roof thing lately, and people have been replacing the roofs, because the insurance companies are scaring them almost into it, and I don't think they should be listening to the show, so they have the information. There you go.
Well, I mean, too, so we talk about citizens and those overall guidelines, but once your dwelling coverage is over 700,000 and you want to get a new policy, you have to have a new roof, because if your roof is 15 years old or older and your dwelling coverage is over 700,000, that's a tough spot, and it gets very, it goes from like you were paying $6,000 last year to 20 grand.
Ooh.
Just because you can't find a standard carrier. I mean, it's very tough to find a standard carrier that's going to accept that age of roof.
I got a question for both of you guys that goes along with that. If I was going to replace the roof, I know there are some tax credits with the solar panels right now, and I just wanted to hear from each of you guys, because I have clients also asking me those same type of questions. Is there any downside to putting the solar panels on? If you're going to get a credit that's going to cover a lot of them, how does it affect your insurance?
So each carrier looks at solar panels differently. I can tell you there's one carrier or two carriers, I guess, that won't, and they're one of the few carriers that are actually writing in South Florida. So they're kind of active. They will not accept solar panels unless they were installed at the time of the roof. So they can't be retrofitted, and I don't think they accept them on a tile roof at all. It's something weird like that, but
it's really metal.
Yeah. So solar panels are, different.
It's more insurance, if anything, right? Obviously, are they part of the roof insurance, or is it
right? So it's not like, oh, you have solar panels, so it's a higher rate. It's more, hey, these solar panels cost X amount of dollars, so we have to take that into account and then increase the dwelling coverage to make sure that they're accounted for.
And the different types of roof, everybody asks that, Ross. Shingle, metal, tile. Doesn't matter.
As far as
when you're putting on a new one,
if you had a 2022 roof, it could be shingle, tile, or metal. Doesn't matter.
You're not going to get a discount.
Once it gets to 10 years, then a lot of carriers are going, no, we're not going to accept a shingle roof over 10 years. Metal is going to give you technically the longest insurance, and that's only 20. They used to be 30, 40, 50, and now it's 20 years.
You get a lifetime warranty and 20 years of insurance.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So
kind of crazy talking to Ross with his mask on, it's super but it's serious. He's giving good information, so thank you.
He reminds me
on the roofs. If you do put solar panels on it, is it a plus to have them? Or is it some people don't want them, some people do? I mean,
I don't know if people, I don't know. There's very few people that really, really like them. It's a very important part of their decision making. But when people have them, I haven't met anybody that didn't want them, right? I never met any of those, right?
Right.
But I didn't find a lot of people that gotta have them. And it might make a difference in getting the price that you want sometimes, because it is a nice upgrade if the solar panel's doing more than heating a pool heater that doesn't work anymore or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but if it was actually
used,
if it actually had real benefits for the house, then people might, when you're haggling back and forth, you might get a little bit more than a house down the street because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there'd be any reason to put solar panels on if it wasn't going to save, money on the electrical bill every month, significant portion. That would be the goal, right? So, so those are great answers, great information. Thank you guys. I needed.
Yeah, Ross, that information's really good. Johnny, you don't have to worry about any of this because you have a newer roof, right? You put it on a roof like 5 years ago or something.
It was new when we bought it. So
it was new when you bought it. Yes, it's only 8 years old or something.
Yeah, but as Ross just
getting old, getting ancient, man.
10-year mark, you're kind of in the world. So
isn't that stink?
Yeah,
Single roofs like 10 years are no good anymore to the insurance people.
These are the conversations that I have to have with my clients. Yeah, your 10-year-old roof. Sorry, it's
I know, and it's
no good anymore.
And
it's terrible. It's a terrible conversation. I mean, you get down. What do you mean? I got to buy a new roof all of a sudden? That's a lot of like people have to realize they got to start saving for this stuff, man. It's not. I mean, if you got a metal roof that's 15 years old, they could decrease it, right, Ross? I mean, they could change that requirement or something in the future. So if you're getting towards the end of it, it would seem like you need to start saving for your roof. I mean, otherwise you're going to have
problems. Citizens.
Yeah.
That's it. Or just go with Citizens.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead, Johnny, take the break. We're going to talk about Aunt Sally is buried in my backyard and I just sold the property. Does it go with me or does it stay with the property?
Am I Aunt Sally?
Yeah, Aunt Sally. Poor Aunt Sally.
Oh, my. We are gonna,
there she is.
We're going to find out whether you're digging that up or if you can just be like, well, that's yours.
You're going to find.
We'll don't dig over there.
And a bunch more, an hour remaining. Remember, you can always reach out to the entire team at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Your one-stop real estate shop, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That is your access. I'm talking about pros. These are all experts in their field. They work cohesively together. You're one click away. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. And remember, the hotline is there as well. You can call it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Find it at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Back in minutes from now. Thanks for being with us. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
You're listening to Real Radio, available everywhere you want to listen. Yeah, even there, on our free iHeartRadio app. Download it now.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff.
Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
Hey, this is Jimmy D. How you doing? Johnny hasn't come back yet. Here he comes. Hey, Johnny, how's it going, man?
Hey, I was just about to go when you jumped in there, but I appreciate you being Jimmy D on the spot. Thanks for being with us. Florida Talk Real Estate on a Saturday. Get into hour number 2, y'all. 2 hours of infotainment. Johnny C, that's me.
927-6969.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't get that part.
It's all right. We're good to go there, Jimmy D. Thank you for being with us. Streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate on both. Of course, on the radio, 92.1, 101.7, and wherever you might be with your free download, your iHeartRadio app. Johnny C, that's me. Jarrett Perry's with us on this Saturday. CPA to the stars, as he's been dubbed by Sports Illustrated on several occasions. Of course, you'll find him with PPF, Player Performance First, and Perry Group CPA, of course. Jarrett, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, Johnny. And we're also live on IG, on the Perry CPA to the Stars IG. So feel free to tune in.
I wanted to mention that just real quick. Perry CPA to the Stars. That used to be PPF, right?
Yeah, it used to be PPF, and now we have a whole new page for the agency, and I don't know if are we announcing that now, Jim?
No, we'll talk about that a little bit, but I just wanted to mention.
So the PPF one has changed to Perry CPA the Stars.
Awesome. Yes. And another source there where we are streaming. Thanks for everybody tuning in with us. We have Ross Komarinetz with us from Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Ross,
rising.
Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Like, you guys ever going to get to me here?
Happy Halloween. Thank you for making it worthy for everybody live streaming with us on a Saturday. And if you're like, what am I missing? Well, you're missing everything. You should go to Florida Talk Real Estate, either on Facebook or on the YouTube page, and catch up on the stream you've been missing. Ross has made it very eventful for us on this Saturday. Jimmy D is here as always. Over a decade now, I've told you about Jim DePola and how he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. That's the Florida Home Pros team at Keller Williams Innovations. Jimmy D, hi, how are you be?
Thank you. I'm doing pretty good. Thanks. We're going to talk about Aunt Sally's buried in my backyard. What do we do now? We're going to talk a little bit about that. I just put a link on our Facebook post of spooky Halloween movies that are related to houses. So there's there in case you're into real estate and spooky stuff. There's a whole bunch of different movies in there. And I was trying to think, there's so many, if you think about it, there's so many haunted house movies. It would be almost impossible to narrow it down. And, but anyway, they were out there in case you're jonesing for a real estate spooky movie. They're there. I'm still waiting for my haunted house that my audience still has not given me. I've been asking for a haunted house now for at least since 2015, at least. I've been asking you guys, when you have a haunted house, call me. I want to sell it. I want to be the agent to sell that haunted house, and you have not performed yet. I'm so disappointed in this audience. Give me a haunted house.
We swear the house you sold for us before this one was haunted. So you may not have known, so maybe that doesn't count. But
I don't know. You should have disclosed that to me, Jarrett. I'm teasing. That gets to value. Which kind of gets us to Aunt Sally, right? What do you disclose and not disclose, and how do you handle things, right? So let me just start off. The reason why I'm using the Aunt Sally story is earlier this year, I had this guy, and we've talked a whole bunch of times on the phone, and he has a father-in-law that needs to sell a house. And I kept following up to see if the father-in-law was ready to sell the house. And the guy's a really, really nice guy. And so we're having this one conversation earlier this year. We started talking. He goes, no, he's not ready yet, but we've got a lot of stuff done. We've taken care of code enforcement because there were these structures in the backyard that were being rented out, and we're taking care of all that. And we're getting all that taken care of, and we're getting the land cleared out and everything. And he goes, I just hope, and he was telling me all the problems, the code enforcement problems and building department problems that he was having with the property. And he goes, yeah, I just hope that the dead body in the backyard isn't going to affect my property value. And I laughed. I thought he was kind of exaggerating that, just talking about how many problems he had with the house, and that he was just like one more thing. So I kind of laughed it off, and we were talking a little bit more. And then he goes, yeah, I just hope that dead body in the backyard doesn't affect my property value. So I laugh again, and I'm thinking, why is he bringing that up twice? It wasn't that funny the first time.
Right.
So then we were talking a little bit more, and then he says, no, I'm asking you, will the dead body in the backyard affect my property value? And I'm like, are you telling me that there's a dead body? No, he didn't say dead. He said, well, the body in the backyard. So I said, is it a dead body? And he goes, yeah. And I go, is it human?
Yeah. What is it?
And he goes, yeah. And apparently the sheriff's office had come a couple of months earlier, and they were illegally renting a structure in the backyard that they probably shouldn't have been doing. And they came, the next thing you know, he said that the father said that all these sheriff's people came in and swarmed the property, arrested the woman that was renting the property, and then they started digging up the backyard, and they found a body in the backyard.
Was she selling like parcels of her land in the backyard to put tombstones on with people, or was it just one person?
That would have been creepy. This is super creepy because there was no headstone, right? So it was just a body buried in the backyard.
Yeah.
So the last I heard is the woman's argument was, I don't know whose body that is.
What?
I don't know how that body got there. Yeah.
She just know it was there.
So then I was reading an article. About Halloween and everything, and I was like, oh, this is a good subject to talk about. Is like what happens when Aunt Sally is buried in the backyard? What do you do then? Right. So let me get to the clip. I'm sorry. The way this is set up, I have to click on a couple things. Hold on here. Because there's some questions I want to ask you guys and see what you think. And we're going to base it on Florida. Okay. So how would you handle this? Okay. Right before your property's ready to close, right? You're buying a property. Right before you're ready to close, the seller tells you if they could drop by once in a while and visit Aunt Sally after they sell the house. And they're like, the buyers are like, you as the buyer's like, excuse me, Aunt Sally? Why is Aunt Sally living here? And then they explain to you that she's buried in the backyard, right? So first, here are some of the questions. Let's find out.
Is that an encumbrance? Is that considered like an encumbrance, or what? Well,
I'm going to ask you some questions. So first of all, do you think it was legal to bury Aunt Sally in the backyard? And I thought this is funny. They have in quotes in this specific example, they said it was a rural area. So are you allowed to bury Aunt Sally in the backyard? Does Aunt Sally convey? That's what Jarrett was asking. Does it convey with the property? So does she stay there or not? Does she have to be relocated? And did the sellers obtain the appropriate permits? And are there any signs of Aunt Sally haunting the property? And if there were, would that be a disclosure issue?
You answered one of your questions with a question.
Yes, I did.
So I'm assuming that she can be there if you have the right permits.
I would assume, yeah, if you filed the permits and you got approved, then yes. But I don't think Aunt Sally's allowed to be buried in a backyard. I don't think usually. So
it would probably depend on like the town.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It would depend on the city ordinances.
And
right?
if it's that rural, it may be like, hey, brother, whatever, you can bury him on your 10 acres, on your homestead.
Yeah.
So exactly. So now, so do you think that Aunt Sally conveys with the property?
She better.
She stays with the property.
I think so, man.
What do you guys think?
I think so. I think it's
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you like the realtor perspective. What would probably happen here is that the sellers probably had to disclose that Aunt Sally was buried in the yard before you got to the closing table. So these buyers, if they wanted to, would probably be able to back out and walk away and get their deposit back, which is exactly what happened in this situation. They didn't close because because they didn't disclose it. And it wasn't so much that it doesn't matter if Aunt Mary died there or not. And in Florida, it doesn't
Mary's
matter.
dead too?
No, Sally.
Yeah,
that's right.
Sally.
Oh, yeah. Now we got big problems, right? Oh, I didn't tell you about that.
That was the
I
second
didn't tell you
time.
about that. Cousin Mary's over there too.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, as we're talking, like 10 more minutes, it's gonna be 4 more people buried in my bag.
I know exactly, right? Right. But they're supposed to disclose, and it probably didn't meet code because they had no permits or anything. So they had an obligation to disclose that. Now, if the person died there, this is Florida, right? If the person died there, or if it was a haunting, they wouldn't have to disclose. But what they did have to disclose is that they had something that might not have met permit, code enforcement, that they had an obligation to tell. So that's why they would have probably not closed on the deal, unless you're real cool with Aunt Sally having visitors.
To allow you to bury dead people in your backyard, then you have to be within the code and file for the permit.
Yeah, can you imagine though that you go all the way through it, you're doing the appraisal, the inspection, everything, you're ready to close, you're getting keys to the table, and then you find out this. It's like,
Victoria, they're all back there. I need a permit for each, or one does it cover them all?
I know, it's crazy. So don't be Aunt Sally. And let me see. I'm sorry. Hold on. Oh, I wanted to get back, get back to, remember we were talking about the predictions of the economics at the top of the hour. I forgot to talk about one thing that I wanted to bring up. Moody's, right? So Moody's Analytics, this guy, Mark Zandi, who's been prognosticating or predicting real estate for a long time. And he's talking about like how the Fed is continue to raise the interest rates, and they're probably going to do it again next week. What they're predicting is that we're seeing a pendulum shift going from a seller's market to a buyer's market. But they're not predicting a crash. They don't feel like we're going to have a crash. So that's going back to what Johnny said about those high interest rates in the 80s, but the property values holding tight. That's what he's thinking. He's thinking that we'll see some price decreasing, but not any kind of crash, just a correction. That's what he's expecting right now. Okay. So that's kind of interesting just to see what other people are saying. They're still saying no crash is coming. And if you're a buyer and you're waiting for the prices to go down significantly, like super, super low, and you need to buy a house because you want to live in it, you're not doing it for investment or anything, you probably should be out looking for houses right now, because I don't know if it's going to be that much better compared to the rising interest rates that are coming up. And holding out, you might be in way worse shape than just going ahead and moving forward. Dan DeMott, the broker in my office, he has a really good perspective on this. He goes, he was telling our staff at the office that, look, we were in the hottest real estate market almost ever recorded in the United States for the last 2 years. It was the hottest ever, right? And now we're not the hottest ever. That doesn't mean that we're bad. It just means that we're not in the hottest ever market, in the history of real estate in the United States. So it isn't like all doom and gloom, and it shouldn't, people shouldn't feel that way, even though that they do right now. And it is not impossible out there to buy a house and sell a house. We're doing it with customers right now, right? And as long as you have a good plan and it's realistic and you have a team of people that are talking to you realistically about what's going on, you can get done what you want. Another thing changes in the market economy I forgot to talk about when we were doing that earlier is new construction. We're seeing a lot more discounts and a lot more incentives for financing and things like that on new construction homes, way more than 2-3 months ago. Now, the developers are still, I went to 4 or 5 developers over the last couple of weeks. Some of them are still saying that they expect to raise prices in January for their units, but other developments are actually seeing price reductions from just a month or 2 ago. So it's really development by development, and it's depending on demand, right? Some of these still have long waiting lists to get in, and other ones actually have properties that are being built and the contracts fell apart and they don't have anybody to buy them. So if understand how to work that, you can take advantage of the market if you're very flexible with your time to close and your financing. So if you're interested in new construction and learning more about that, give us a call. Ross, speaking about new construction insurance is a great way to not worry about homeowners insurance, right?
Yeah, no, new construction. I mean, I use the term cheap, but that's relative. But yeah, and you're going to get, every carrier is going to offer you coverage. That's going to be your best bet coverage wise. You'll get good deductible options, that $1,000 hurricane deductible, which is pretty awesome for not extra money. So yeah, if you can get new construction, you're going to be better off insurance wise for sure.
Yeah. So there's another benefit there. So if you're the kind of person that's like, I don't want to deal with the vagaries of what's happening in the insurance market, I want to have a safer bet of keeping my payments predictable over time. New construction is really a nice way to go if you want to do that. A couple of the downsides, listen to this. One of the developers that we're trying to work with, they're telling the homeowners that they'll give them a 7-month lock on their interest rates, because interest rates are a big problem with new construction right now, because as you're waiting, the interest rates are going to go up. So you really need a lock. But the developer is offering a 7-month lock, but they're telling you that it's going to take 10 months to build the property. So that's a big risk, right? That's a big risk to the homeowner. And I don't know how they're going to reconcile that. I don't know if they have enough people that maybe they have more cash buyers or people that don't care if the interest rates go from 7% to 9%, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it could, right? And you have no protection on that, and you would lose your deposit if you didn't close. So there's still a lot of bumpy roads. Developers are very negative right now about the way that the market is nationally. They're very negative about the future of new sales, and because of these high interest rates. And but I got to be honest with you, I don't know when these developers have been happy. We've been through some of the best markets forever, and they're still not building to the demands that are out there. And there always was an excuse, right? Even when we had the low interest rates, right? There were excuses about not building faster, right? And they got burned.
Issues, right?
Supply chain.
Yeah, a lot of it was like they got burned really bad in 03 through 05, and they were very exuberant or betting on the future, and they got creamed. So I understand where they're coming from, but now it's almost like they've become too restrictive, and it's been like that for so long. They're a real main reason as to why, I'm not like beating them up, but they are a big reason why we have this low inventory that we have right now, right? Because they haven't been building right since the last bust. They've never really caught up with what the demand was. So we're now squeezed so bad. And now with the hurricane on the West Coast, there's these theories, as Jarrett brought up, are people going to start coming from the West Coast to the East Coast because there's nothing out there right now, right, for them. And I don't know. I don't know how that's going to affect. It'll be interesting.
It could shake things up if it's slowing down a little bit on the East Coast, and flattening off. Well, maybe, that demand comes over here because it's all being rebuilt over there now, right? Like, I know they took a pretty hard hit on that side. So it's, or people may be more hesitant to moving on that side now just because of it.
What I'm wondering is a lot of the people that are living there full time and they had a house and it was, they've had the house for a while and now it's completely obliterated and they're waiting to see if they can rebuild, right? I don't know how many of them are going to say, okay, we're just going to pack up and move and buy on the East Coast if they're really West Coast people. Some of them will, but I don't know if it'll be a mass influx. I think a lot of them will wait to build back where they chose to live originally. I don't know.
I mean, if my house got blown away, I wouldn't move to the West Coast. I wouldn't just move.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So I don't know how big of that's going to be. Now, a lot of the part-timers, they might not care, might even actually say, hey, new experience, let's come on over here. Yeah. I don't want to deal with all that mess over there. We'll get some of that too. But I don't know if it's really going to move the numbers hard one way or the other. It could.
Yeah, I didn't mean people that live there. I think after talking to the mayor himself for my, Jalen was with us on at the event we did, and he's not the mayor, but he knows everybody and is involved in the market there and grew up there and is building now. And my understanding is, the people that live there are going to stay. They love the area and they're going to keep, bringing it back. So I just thought maybe a lot of the new buyers or people moving into Florida may be a little hesitant to choose that coast right now.
Oh yeah, I think
no inventory.
Yeah, I think that's
what I mean.
Be the big thing.
Even if they wanted to go.
Yeah, it's gonna be. There's gonna be a lot of pain.
It's gonna take a while. Like it happened when Tallahassee with that storm a few years back, and all the contractors were literally leaving South Florida, going up there and doing the repair jobs and renting a VRBO or a hotel or whatever while they were doing the work up there. And they're already starting to do the same thing. They're all headed over to the West Coast to work and help them rebuild, but they can only build with what supplies they have. And if they can't get their supplies, then there could be tons of contractors over there, but whoever's got the supplies is going to be in the best shape.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the effects of the hurricane market on us, and we'll just have to see what happens. I really will really see the market just very dynamic. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. The 3.2s under 500,000 are still in huge demand. Under 400,000, super hot demand still. And what are you laughing about, Ross?
Where are you seeing 3 bedrooms under 4?
Yeah,
I know. In the 4s.
I know.
Yeah. Is there still 3 bedrooms in the 4s? And
yeah, you can. Yeah, it's definitely possible. I saw one recently for $375. That was a pretty good deal, actually, in Cabana Colony in Palm Beach, Cabana Colony, in Jupiter, right? Or Palm Beach Gardens. I'm sorry, Palm Beach Gardens, and that's pretty decent neighborhood and stuff. And they're cinder block homes. They were built in the 50s and 60s, but this one had a brand new roof and impact windows. So and under $400,000. Now, was it super Mac Daddy? No, but it had a nice big fenced backyard and it had room to be fixed up. So you could still get them.
It's crazy. Like from a few years back, and then thinking about $400,000, $375 for a 3-bedroom house built in the 50s, depending on where it is. Obviously.
I did a deal in there the first or second year we started the show, and it was a short sale. So we were the buyers, and the person paid somewhere between $90 and $120 for a house like that. And now it's $375. So, and that was 2013. So in 8 years, it went from, let's say, just to make it a round number, 100 to 375.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It's up pretty good.
90%. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
It depends on your perspective. If you're the person that bought it for 100 and then sold it for 375, good. But the person bought it for 375,
they're finding a good deal. They should be happy.
Yeah. We are expecting prices to drop. We're going to talk a little bit about buyers on the flip side. Let's go ahead and take the break, and we're going to talk a little bit about buyers. And I want to make the announcement about the whole player performance first, the big news with that, and talk about that just for a little bit. Is that all right, Jarrett?
Perfect. Sound good? We'll do that. 4 minutes from now, we'll do a quick little reset. We'll get back at it, put a bow on a Saturday. Of course, you're welcome to join us. If you want to get in queue right now, you got a question, comment, concern, 4 minutes from now, we'll get to your phone call at 877-927-6969. Jimothy will line you up. Again, you make that call, we'll take that call. If you're not comfortable on air, always remember, write it down, use it, know it, love it, share it. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. You have access to the entire team, all these pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You'll see the hotline, 888-973-7828 at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. 4 minutes from now, we're back at it. One big, long segment remaining. About a 26-minute segment. Plenty of time for lots more infotainment and even your phone call. 877-927-6969. It's Florida Talk Real Estate. It's Real Radio.
The visual aid you need for all the freaky stuff we talk about on the radio. Find it at realradio921.com.
From the Gordon and Partners Weather Center. Have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with CBS 12 News. Sun and clouds for today with a chance for a few passing showers as high temperatures return to the middle 80s across the area and an east-northeast wind breezy at times between 10 and 20 miles per hour. Some clouds linger for tonight as low temperatures return to the lower and middle 70s by Sunday morning.
This report is sponsored by Audible. This fall, find everything you love listening to on Audible. From memoirs and true crime to celebrities and sci-fi. Audible is the home of storytelling, audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowner's insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
You're listening to Real Radio 92.1. And we are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, there it is. Toll-free number if you got a question, comment, concern in the world of real estate, or if you just want to be a part of the conversation. Got plenty of time for you remaining. We're going to pass the baton to the locker room at 11, so you do the math. About 24 minutes remaining. Plenty of time for your phone call, 877-927-6969. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the air, always remember Florida Talk Real Estate is .com, your one-stop real estate shop. I'm Johnny C., your air traffic control, your buddy, your pal. Jarrett Perry's with us on this Saturday. CPA to the stars, as you'll read in Sports Illustrated. Of course, with player performance first, and forever now, it's Perry Group CPA, y'all. Again, CPA to the stars. Yeah, my man, Jarrett, how are you?
It's been good, going good, man. Appreciate the intro.
Always great to have you with us. Always great to have Ross Komarinetz with us as well. Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. He's very festive on this Saturday, Halloween weekend. Hi, Ross. Nice to have you with me, my friend.
Hello, everybody. Happy Halloween.
There it is. Nice. If you're streaming with us, you see exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not streaming with us, you can always go back, Facebook and YouTube, catch the streams, all the information that we give you in the 2-hour chunk of infotainment every Saturday. That's Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook and YouTube. Jimmy D's with us as well. That's Jim DePola with the Florida Home Pros team. Keller Williams Innovations, I've told you for over a decade, he runs a top-producing Keller Williams team. It's the Florida Home Pros, y'all. Jimmy D, how you be?
Hey, good, Johnny. Happy South Florida, everybody. Happy Halloween. I hope everything is going awesome for you guys. I'm sorry, just fixing something on Facebook. AJ Holman stopped by just recently. AJ, as you guys know, is the appraiser that comes on our show once in a while, and I really always appreciate when he's on the air because he has really good insight. And AJ was talking last week about the market and also predicting that he did an analysis. He's kind of wonky like me, so he actually does analysis on the stuff and on the what's happening in the market. And what he found is that while we're seeing price reductions and about a 25 to 30% reduction in sales, the prices are still holding tight right now, which is what he's showing too. So like I said, kind of weirdo market right now. Hold on here. Sorry.
It's weird to me that some of the social media stuff, the realtors are talking about, a recession when it's not there. Like maybe it's to shock them and get them to pay attention to them, maybe as like an shock advertising, Jim, something like that. Oh
yeah, like YouTube real estate guys are doing this like crazy on their YouTube channels. They're talking about massive crashes. Like the market's crashing and all this stuff, and interest rates are totally out of control, which they're going high comparatively, but they do that to suck you in. And then when you actually watch the videos, most of the reasonable ones say that's not really true. So they do that bait and switch, like you click on it.
We're just trying to grab it.
They're just trying to grab it. So there's a lot of that there. You really have to really read the market well. That's what I pride ourselves here at Florida Talk Real Estate, to giving you weekly updates of what's happening, which I really feel like kind kind of really gives you a pulse of what's happening in the market for real and not just what people's opinions are, right?
Right.
What is true right now is that we're seeing a 25 to 30% reduction in sales, right? So it's very common for us to be somewhere between 1,500 and 1,800 single-family homes sold in Palm Beach County every month, for example, and one of the 6 counties we cover, right? But right now, last month, we were only at 1,100, right? That's a significant drop. If you think 1,800 is kind of on the higher end, and we're at 1,100 right now, that's a significant drop. So we are seeing that. So what's happening is that the buyers are being more picky about what they want to buy. And if your house isn't on point and they don't feel that there's value in that specific house, they're not buying it. They're going to wait and see if another house comes on the market, or if a house that they like is priced a little out of their reach, they're hoping that that price will come down instead of making the offer on your house. That's what's happening right now. And that's a normal market. That means that the sellers aren't in full control. So we're getting to a more stabilized market. It's a push and pull saying, hey, I don't think your house is worth that much. I'm willing to give you this. And the seller's saying, nah, I think I want this. And there's a little back and forth going on now. It isn't just the seller saying, hey, if you don't like it, I got 10 other people behind me. Right behind you. So do it or buy it. So it isn't like that right now. And if you got agents, there's a lot of agents that only were trained just doing that. That's all they were trained for, because that's the market that they cut their teeth in. They don't know any other market. And those ones, the agents are still acting like that. Every house they see, they want to give full asking price right away. Just jump on it. Just give them the full asking price because you don't want to lose the house. That isn't that market anymore. A good agent, a seasoned agent, is going to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. This house has been on the market 18 days. I'm not hearing from the agent, hey, if you don't turn your offer in quick, you're not going to have a shot. So why don't we really just analyze this and see what you think is a good deal to turn in for the offer? We went into contract with 2 properties this week. One of them was the Solitaire property, which was our listing. It took us 42 days and we got 98.5% of the list price. Not too bad. The average in Martin County right now from last month was 96% of list price. So I got 2.5% higher. Not the end of the world, but hey, I'll take $12,000, right? That's $12,000 on a property like this. So I did a little better. I paid for a big chunk of the real estate commissions by doing that, right? So compared to the average, but so you could still get good value on your home, but it has to be priced right, and you have to understand the market, right? Now my buyer, the property that they bought this week, congratulations, Richard. We're under contract. We'll be doing the inspection next week. That property was a 375 3.2 CVS. I forgot about that. We just put it on the market. It's like, how can you get a 3.2 under 400,000? We did. It was in Lake Park. It's on a good street. The house has a brand new 4-year-old roof, 2-year-old AC, and impact windows everywhere. This particular house too, right? And we got it, and we actually turned in the full asking price. It was only on the market 13 days. I checked everything else in that neighborhood and the other neighborhoods, and there was nothing that comparable for value. So I said, look, I would recommend you just give them full. And then when we go in inspection, if we have problems, we'll have room to negotiate to come back, because we could say, hey, look, we were intentionally going to give you the full, but we didn't know this and this and this is wrong if there's any problems. That way we can start off on a good foot for the negotiations. And the price was a good price for the house. So we gave it to him because that's what needed to be done. But like the second choice he had, it was at 380, and I wouldn't have started above 345 for that house because it was in worse condition, right? And there was only $5,000 difference between the 2 choices he was looking at. Right. So that's kind of the way this market is. AJ was just responding. He says list prices are declining, but they were too high, exclamation point, to start with, right? He said sales prices mostly holding steady. Sales volume is down, but inventory is not too high yet, which I totally agree. We're still only at 3 months We need to be at 6 or higher. So thank you, AJ, for checking in with us. I really appreciate it. We're going to have you show on the in December. Johnny, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, nice to have AJ with us.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, let me see. I'm sorry. Renegade. I forgot. I wanted to talk about this. So Jarrett and I had a lot of fun a couple nights ago. We went down to a Miami Dolphins charity tournament, charity event at Topgolf in Miami Gardens. And it was really nice. I met a couple of former NFL players, which was really cool. Met an up and coming. You know, you hang out with Jarrett, you never know, right? So Jarrett's hanging out with this big time venture capitalist. We have all these former NFL people stopping by our bay to say hello, to find Jarrett. It's like, who the heck are you? Oh, I'm Jarrett's friend. And then as soon as you say you're Jarrett's friend, now they like it. Right? And I don't know why we're getting the echo. And then we had this a performer. Is he hip hop or is he rap, Jarrett?
Drago.
Yeah.
He's now, it's like house techno with he sings though with it as well, so it's a little different.
Oh, it's a little different kind of thing he's got going on anyway.
He performs at all over the Paris, Miami. Like that was my first time meeting him. Lorenzo brought him, so one of my clients brought him.
So this singer that performs has gigs all over the world is coming out and hanging out with Jarrett. So it's kind of fun just hanging out at the charity event and everything.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
And one of the things that was really great is that we're all representing the new formation or the new invention of player performance first. Jarrett's wearing the shirt right now. Player performance first is now changed over to Renegade Sports and Entertainment. So Jarrett, that's Jarrett and ours company. I'm really excited about it. With the merger, we have Paul Aloisi that's going to be the main juggernaut of this whole venture. Paul brings a lot of value to the table. Johnny, he was the first guy in the country to do a name, image, likeness deal in the whole country. And now he goes around the whole country training people and teaching people how to do the name, image, likeness thing for college sports in the legal way so that nobody gets in trouble with the NCAA or any kind of violation.
He's also a walk-on at Florida State and played on the national championship team as a linebacker.
Oh, you can see the Florida State tie with the Renegade.
The Renegade, you think?
Yeah. First thing I thought of.
I knew there was a better look coming from you, man. I
That's a Florida State guy. I know Paul's a Florida State guy. I wonder if that Renegade must be purely coincidence.
Yeah.
Rock even has a little Florida State love in him too, doesn't he? Don't you, Rock?
Yep.
That's right. Spent almost a decade there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people
Renegade's
up there.
the horse the Seminoles use for the Seminole rides out on throwing the spear.
That's the name of the horse. That's right, Renegade. Absolutely, little fun fact right there. But the name, image, likeness. Some are wondering the NIL that you might see thrown around in collegiate sports. That's what we're talking about there. The name, image, likeness, the ability to monetize, the kid's name, their representation.
Right. And so it wasn't just PPF changed its name to Renegade. Paul Aloisi has Renegade Sports and Player Performance First. We were our separate agency. We've been co-repping players for years together. He has a big book of clients. We had our clients. We decided to merge together and strengthen the bond. And we're all on the same page in terms of what we want to do and how we want to help these guys. And so we merged into Renegade. And so that's the new company name moving forward.
Yeah, I was and what we're trying to do with this agency is, like, right now one of the mottos that we have is discover the difference. And for sports agencies, a lot of the agencies, they really just negotiate the contract and then that's the end of their thing. But with Renegade, we're going to help them with promoting themselves if they want to do that, so social media, that kind of stuff. We're going to be putting together a podcast soon, which we hope is going to be part of iHeartRadio, which is going to be able to promote and use a platform to get them out there. But also, it's also about financial planning and accounting and tax services. Jerret's an expert in sports taxation, right? So
he's mixing it into the contract negotiation. using it as ways to bring the team and the player together through the language in the contract instead of where they could pay the same thing just by changing the words and get the player, things that people aren't really doing for their clients these days. They have standard contracts, all the big agents. And I got frustrated trying to help the client save on taxes by making suggestions to the other agents and that didn't want to change their standard contract. So
and like even the ones that live down here, either part-time or full-time, they have access to like jet skis and boats through one of our services. And then they got the IV company to hydrate and activate IV. And they have all these other services and related. And the other thing that's very impressed to me, this is why I bought into PPF and now Renegade, is that there's so many players that Jerret's surrounded with that have been with him for 10 years, right? Well after their playing years are over, they're still working with Jarrett, and Jarrett wants to work with them, which I think is so cool. Jarrett's not about, hey, you're an athlete, I want to work with you, and then when you're not, see you later, bye-bye. Jarrett's about building a long-term relationship with people and trying to set them up for life, and that's what's really cool. I was talking to a guy named Sean Jerret, who a younger guy, played in the NFL for a while. Yeah, I didn't want to say the name, but
the UM, and he played multiple years in the NFL. I think he played like 8 or 9 years. He was with the Steelers for a big stint of that. Yeah,
and a little bit with the Titans, and then he came back to the Steelers, and we were talking about that. And but one of the things he says when he heard I'm involved in real estate, he wanted to start asking a lot of questions about that because a lot of the guys are very interested. And because they all think that that's a great way to grow their money. Well, he ended up buying a multifamily complex in Ohio, right? And he says, yeah, I did real estate. One of the first things I did a multifamily in Ohio. And I said, well, how's that going for you? He goes, I don't own it anymore. He goes, it didn't go very well. And I said, well, I didn't know Sean Spence's history at that point. I go, did you go to college there or play ball there or something that's why you picked that? And he goes, no, I just heard it was a good opportunity. And that is like a rookie 101 mistake in investing, is to do a landlord type of situation or a property for rental property, and you're not seasoned and you do it out of state without really knowing the plan on how to do it and relying on other people. That's not really a good plan.
That happens before before they realize, they need to call us before they make those type of decisions and make a move like that. Sean now is, the cool thing is, Jim, all those guys at the event, they're no longer in the NFL, and they're all still very successful, and they have real estate endeavors, and they have, they're not part of that stigma that, started out broke, went to the NFL and made a bunch of money and is broke, all the guys that were there have money. They're going to be set for life. They're in a good situation. They have income generating assets, real estate, and they're still looking to get involved in other projects, which is cool.
Yes. And they want to grow the money that they have now. They're all like focused on that, which is really,
with the Ohio one for sure,
And I'm going through a little ageism shock, Johnny, because these kids I'm talking to, they're like 28, 29, 30, 31, right? And they're very sophisticated for that age, to be honest with you. And it's very fun, hanging out with them and seeing their questions and the questions they have. And some of them are super insightful questions, like Jalen.
Busy on Wednesday, man. You were getting hit up. We were the event coordinator you were talking to. We had Rosenhaus next to us. There's a thing going on. I don't know why they put us right next, but it's all good. And then, so it was but Jim, every time I looked over, he was answering questions about real estate.
But Jarrett was the golfer of the day, though.
Man,
Top Golf. He did the best. He almost got a hole in one to win a prize. He did pretty good on that, but he was rocking them.
Yep.
So
I had a couple of good ones. I'm terrible normally at golf, and I went in there and I didn't even warm up, and I was slamming them. I don't know why. Hopefully it'll stay like that.
He was doing good. I wanted to talk about just a little tiny bit. We only got a couple minutes, so I just want to round out with a little tiny bit of investment. I'm going to go ahead and mention that project, Jarrett. Do you mind? Do you have a problem with that?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
because we have a project. I'm not the listing agent, so I can't get into all the details of it, but we're trying to put it together, and it's a 52 unit in the West Palm Riviera area. It's in a major downtown redevelopment area that's happening, and the potential right now
coming through.
I'm sorry.
Soon. I said there may be an offer coming through already soon. So
oh, is there? Okay, yeah. So this property's been this package has been, it's a 52 unit rental property. And it's been sitting around for like 14 months and we haven't been able to put it together yet. So we're trying to structure the offer now. But if anybody's interested in those type of things, the play on this is that even with a loan on this 52 units, you're making about 7% on your money, which is pretty good cap rate for rental properties in today's market. But the real play is to redevelop the properties over time as the development surrounding you goes up. And there's been a lot of stuff approved in this area. This is a really good play. If people had bought the property 14 months ago when we were trying to put this project together earlier, the cap rate would have been in the 11% range right now, which is unheard of. To get an 11% return on an investment that was only a year ago.
Talking real cap rates, guys, not
yeah,
BS.
and these are not. We have all the costs included in here, including taxes, property management, even a maintenance guy to take care of all the properties on top of the property manager. We put real costs in there, and it's really good opportunity.
They invest in 8% cap rate. They don't know what they're talking about because they're not calculating the cap rate, right? So this is definitely a solid play with
yeah,
the
and
real
if you're. Yeah, so if you're interested in commercial investment, you got to give us a call. Hugo, congratulations, Hugo. By the way, Hugo's, look, I forgot. Hugo at Mickey's Diner in Fort Pierce, he bought the property about a month and a half ago. He's so happy with the purchase. I talked to him yesterday. He's cash flowing on this restaurant that he just bought. He's making it better, but he needs a short order cook right now. He needs one right now. He'll pay good money. If you're a short order cook and you're looking for a Fort Pierce gig, you got to give us a call because Mickey's Diner is looking for you. Hugo, I promise Hugo I would talk about that today. So Mickey's Diner in Fort Pierce, give us a call, get you directly to Hugo. And he's making really good money on that restaurant that he bought. And there's so many option plays for him later. He's already talking about multifamily on that lot. So pretty interesting.
Hey, how do you market that besides talking about it on the radio?
The restaurant?
No, the 52 units. You can't you don't.
Well, I can't because I'm not the listing agent. I can't because I'm not the listing agent.
Okay. There's a whole group of people that look for off-market properties, like developers, and so people have networks. Like I have a network of people that are constantly looking for off-market properties. So you just have to have somebody that knows people that want those properties. It's typically a developer. Some type. It's got
I just know, Jim. It's if somebody's trying to sell 52 units as a package, how do you put that on the MLS?
Yeah, you don't.
There's a way, and it's very complicated. It's kind of complicated, but there is a way. We've done it, and it'll be fast. Ross will be involved in that deal when we close. When we close on that, because Ross is going to be working on the insurance package for those properties.
Yep. Yeah. Well, happy Halloween.
Yeah, well said, Jarrett. I hope everybody has an awesome weekend. Let me put a bow on this by giving you a little bit of very valuable information. It's about Florida Talk Real Estate being a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change people's lives by putting them on pros. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com is access to a team of pros. That's why we call it your one-stop real estate shop. So please, remember that if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, you're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, and everything involved, we have your resources at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Jarrett Perry, I hope you have a great weekend, my friend. Thanks for being with us on this Saturday.
Thank you, guys, man. This is a great show. Thank you.
Ross, Komarinetz, Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach, please do the same, and thanks for being so festive with us on this Saturday.
I will do my best. I hope everybody has a good weekend.
Yeah, awesome. Me too. And Jim DePola, I hope you have an awesome Halloween weekend, my friend.
You too, guys. I hope you get lots of candy for your kids.
Yeah, Monday will be here before you know it, and I know all the kiddos are excited. Please enjoy your weekend, and I hope you're planning on sticking around the locker room. They're going to squeeze out a little pregame sports show. Remember, you got Gator football, and it's Georgia, Florida, as they've been dubbed, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That's happening. You can hear that on Real Radio today. Let's get Go Florida on our way out, and thank you for being with us. We'll be next Saturday. You stop with that chop right there, Ross. It's home of Gator football here at Real Radio. Thank you.
Forget about that Georgia Tech game.
And stick around. You got the locker room coming up next. Florida Talk Real Estate back at it next Saturday at 9 a.m. until 11 right here on Real Radio.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for